Okay, welcome everyone. So this video is about me. Actually, I want to change some things in my audio here. Do I have? But me. Actually, I want to change some. Good, audio is working. I'm going to up my noise gate a little bit. See how that goes. Okay. So I'm doing some pre-audio processing now, which I wasn't before. I was just taking it straight out of the mic. So the purpose of today's video is I'm making a slide deck for a quick presentation on what the issue is with Ansible 2.19, so Ansible Core 2.19, and how it's affecting people in terms of yeah. So it's affecting people in terms of what's going on. So do a new presentation. Do I want to do? Yeah, I want to do this one. All right. So this will be Ansible 2.19 issues. From just using the there we go. All right, so what's the deal? What is the issue with Ansible Core 2.19? So Ansible released 2.19 in late July 2025. Ansible Core. So Ansible, it's a little confusing because there's the Ansible release and there's the Ansible Core release. And the Ansible Core release is part of the Ansible release, but they do versioning very differently. So Ansible Core 2.19 is part of Ansible, I think this is right, Ansible 12. So I'm still not exactly sure what the difference between them is in terms of like what's core and what's just Ansible. So Ansible released Ansible Core to 19. Ansible reworked some aspects in order to fix some issues and security problems. And it ended up breaking a lot of stuff. That's the quick way of saying it. So one of the issues is the breaks the net common. Was it a module library? Modules library. So let's look it up. I'm always fact checking, making sure that I've got the accurate information. Excuse me. So, to do net common, help content automate network security devices. So it's a collection of modules. So a collection of modules. So the issue is it breaks a bunch of this stuff, which is used by most of the other modules. So for example, Cisco, a lot of these, this is the Cisco namespace. So these are all collections. So there's a collection for Cisco iOS, Cisco iOS XE, iOS, or so Cisco NXOS, UCS, etc. There's a namespace for Arista. Excuse me. Oh, one of them was deprecated in 12. Cisco ASA. That's interesting. I guess that's an older setup. Anyway, so it's used by a lot of the other networking collections, the networking modules, and so it breaks a lot of stuff. So I'm going to do a quick demo of what it's breaking, just to go over the demo. So I'm going to make a demo slide here. So the demo is based off of just a quick install of Alma Linux. So this is Alma 10. And I don't think Ansible's installed. No, it's not. So if I do, is even Python, is pip3 installed? Pip3 is not installed. So we need to do sudo dnf-y install Python 3 pip. Oh yeah, we want to do user bin Python. Oh yeah, that's right. Python 3.2. So yeah, we do dnf-y install Python 3 pip sudo. So this is a pretty basic install of Alma Linux. It doesn't even have tar. So like that's one of the funny things is when it doesn't have tar. So we've got we've got Python pip installed. So if I do pip3 install Ansible Core, it's going to install by default 2.19. So do I want to run the... Yeah, I probably want to run... Yeah, for this demo, I'm going to want to do this a little bit differently. So I want to install... I want to run putty. So 132. So I got to do a little bit of prep work here. Get the Autobox complete install. You know what? I'm just going to... Because I think I already have an Autobox complete install. No, yeah, I do want to do that. Okay. So this is behind the scenes. It's me figuring this stuff out. And I'll change the font. There we go. And I want to use my Autobox. So I'm working on some things changing on Autobox, like how things are installed. So there's a script I have to run. I should run dnf-update. dnf-y update. Since 10 came out, there shouldn't be too much in there. So I did make an installer script here. I'm not going to install Docker, though. I don't need to. I just need to get an IDE installed. I'm of the opinion, I love having Code Server, which runs, basically it runs VS Code as a web app on top of your Linux installation. That way, for your automation system, it's perfect because you can edit all of your playbooks and other stuff on the box itself, run the utilities from it. Instead of having to do some like tunneling solution where I'm running like running VS Code on my desktop and it's SSH'd to the remote system, and that's kind of a pain to set up, or at least it was for me. All right, so I'm just going to run this script here. So this goes and installs. Oh, look at that. It installed Ansible Core 2.18. So how did I install that? How did I get that done? Because that's kind of cool. So it's running this script right here. pip3 install Ansible. So I guess if you install Ansible, it installs. That's interesting. Let's try that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new. I've got some templates here. So I've got an Alma 10 base template. Try something. So I'm just going to try something on a new VM here. So just the VM's from a template, so it's already there. It spins right up, and then I'll just go delete it when I'm done. So what password would you like for access to code server? There we go. Oh yeah, it installs Docker automatically. I think it installs a container lab. I don't need it on here, but. Okay, so 1.29. Okay, so I've got so 132. So I should be able to log into HTTPS 192.168.1.32. Yep. And then I'll go to color theme. Change that. The other thing I need to do is I need to make directory workspace and set it up so that it opens up into this automatically. One of the overall projects I'm doing is to make I don't want to make a whole new distribution of Linux because there's no reason to do that. But I want to do is make some guidelines for network administrators who are not used to doing Linux administration on how to build themselves and maintain a setup that will facilitate network automation. So the little tips and tricks and like help them make some choices on stuff. And for a couple of different distros, Alma Linux for the Enterprise Linux family, like RHEL and Rocky and Alma. And then Ubuntu, which should work pretty well with Debian. All right, so I've got this going on, and Ansible version. So 2.18 got installed. So if I do pip3 install yeah, so the question is, so I'm going to SSH into 129. So this is the VM I just made. They're both called template because I haven't renamed them. And so if I do pip3 install Ansible, not Ansible Core. Oh yeah, I need to install pip3. Do install Python 3 pip sudo. What does it install? All right, so it installs Ansible 11, which is Core 2.18, which is good. That will work. There's nothing wrong with that one. So it's installing all of that. I didn't realize that was the behavior. So let's do an uninstall. Is there an uninstall in pip? Yeah, there is. So pip3 uninstall Ansible. Let it work that magic. Proceed, yes. All right, so now if I do pip3 install Ansible Core, I believe it installs, I need to, so I want to do pip3 install Ansible Core. I believe this will install 2.19. Yes, it does. Okay. All right, so that's new information. I did not realize that. So installing Ansible via pip3 install Ansible currently installs Ansible Core 2.19, which works fine. 2.18. Installing Ansible via pip3 install Ansible Core currently installs Ansible Core 2.19, which is broken in July 2025. So we're getting close to August. Where did the summer go? Okay. Okay. So it's a little confusing, and then you've got the Ansible. I should probably make a thing on Ansible and Ansible Core. Is Ansible Core. So it actually showed me what it is. So the Ansible, and then, so I've got Ansible Core installed. So like, I'm going to, so Autobox. Oh, you know what? There was a demo. Yeah, the live screen. No, not that one. So I've got a free class on running Ansible for network administration. Okay, Ansible version. So let's do that. So pip3 uninstall Ansible. What is the Ansible versus Ansible Core? So what AI says. I still don't trust AI a lot these days, just because there's a lot of like, for some of the more esoteric subjects, sometimes it just doesn't get things right. So Ansible Core, this is financial engine and command line tools of Ansible. It's a minimalist package focused. There's the Ansible community package. A curated set of Ansible collections. Okay, so that means, what does Geek for Geek say? Full give system including Tower Galaxy. And extra collections is proceed. Yeah, I would assume Galaxy is part of Core. So let's do pip3 install Ansible Core. Oh, pip3 uninstall Ansible Core. So it looks like when I installed Ansible, it installed Core, and then I had to uninstall Core as well. So let's do install Core. Okay, now it's installing 2.19. And then I'll do git clone. So like I'll do simple Ansible here. It's going to try to add a bunch of devices. Do fabric. Call this fabric. Demo 1. Ansible playbook. We are running on 2.19. That's what we want. Ansible playbook, and then loop add user. Okay. So Ansible Core doesn't install the baseline or the common collection of modules. They don't take up a lot of space because it's just Python code, so not like huge binaries or anything. So what I'll do is I'll do Ansible Galaxy collection install arista.eos. So this includes a bunch of modules from the Arista EOS namespace. Modules Ansible. So like eAPI, LECP, OSPF, a bunch of that stuff. All right, so let's run this playbook. Yeah, so here is the actual problem. Also says users is undefined. Well, let's do another one. Do single add user. Yeah, so this is the current problem is excuse me, that this error comes out. So this error is actually not caused by the Arista EOS module. It's actually caused by netcommon, which the EOS module uses. So maybe I want to do a screenshot. Okay, issues. So this is when I'm trying to run. What do I want to do? I want to insert text. Where's the text box? No, I want to do this. Nice white background. Most of the networking collections, EOS. Let's try a couple more just to make sure that if I'm going to mention a vendor in their collection, that it's correct. You know what I should do is you should do the VLANs one, because I think the VLAN one. Loop add VLAN. Yeah. I'll just do single VLAN. Because the VLAN modules, I think, are the same. They require the same parameters. Whether it's EOS, so I could do NXOS, NXOS VLANs. Ansible Galaxy collection list. One called Protomatter. That's weird. I was just making a Protomatter joke. That's from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Or Star Trek 3 is when they first introduced Protomatter. Cisco NXOS. So net common. Oh yeah, so single add VLAN. So if I do Cisco NXOS VLANs, I think it's the same parameters. That's not usually the case. Yeah, it's the same parameters. So for that, and then we'll do, I'll go ahead and add Juniper Networks, Junos. That one might work because let's see, because it uses netconf. No, I think netconf is a net common. So let's do Juniper Networks, Junos VLANs. I think that's what it's called. Yep, that's what it's called. Yeah, so sometimes a lot of the times the modules use their own required parameters, but because VLANs are VLANs, it's basically this part is what we call the parameters. It's the values that you need to feed a module, so the module knows how to do what it's supposed to do, and they're identical between the different vendors with these network modules. So it looks like they're all broken. So Juniper Networks .Junos, Cisco NXOS, etc. So most of the network collections use netcommon, and thus are all broken with Ansible Core 2.19. Okay. Yeah, so those are the issues you'll see. And then there's some other issues too, and I really haven't explored too much of. So for example, Arista AVD. Arista AVD. So we'll do Ansible collection, or Ansible Galaxy collection install arista.avd. Let's go to install Arista CVP as well. So 551. So there's a specific one here for AVD. Well, playbooks, build. Oh, PyAVD. So we need to do pip3 install PyAVD. It's going to complain about something else too, I think. Distlib. I don't know what that does. Yeah, so it basically requires more and more. So, okay, so it's AVD ignore requirements true. So if I go in the AVD build under group vars, under fabric, I could put that for all of them. So that works, and then it goes AVD create directories is undefined, so maybe I'll do that. I'll do that as true. So create the AVD directories. And then it wants something else. So design facts, AVD digital twin mode. So it's looking for all these variables that are not set, and it didn't cause a problem before. So that's unrelated to net common. So that's another issue. So basically there's enough changes can break other modules. Not all of them, but many of them. So there's been enough changes under the hood for Ansible Core 2.19 that it's breaking a lot of stuff. Now the probably want to talk about rough transition periods. So most platforms will go through rough transition periods where a change is disruptive in terms of operations or setup or convention. So the feel I got is that they needed to make some changes in Ansible, and in order to do those changes, the kind of changes they needed to make, they had to risk breaking stuff that had worked many, many times before. And so this is not just like a bug. So this is not a thing that they can fix with Ansible. It's a thing that everything else has to fix to accommodate it. I think it will be backwards compatible. So if you make the old stuff conform to the new way, it should work. In theory, that's my understanding, but they haven't fixed anything yet. So there's these different, these rough patches, like when we went from Python 2 to Python 3, that was kind of rough because then we still have a lot of Python 2 out there. And syntactically, they're different enough that most scripts, well, maybe not most, but a lot of scripts that worked for 2 won't work for 3 without modification. So that's a rough patch there. Syntax changes in like Cisco iOS or NXOS or Arista. Juniper's kind of going through, I wouldn't say it's a rough transition, but their Junos evolved, which is Linux based, as opposed to traditional Junos, which is FreeBSD based. Although there's some Linux in there too, depending on the platform. So there's a lot of like interesting things. The rough transitions, and this is one of them. And it's like these changes are needed often to drive the platform forward, but they can be a pain in the ass. This is one of those transitions. So this is to differentiate this between just like, oh, someone messed up some code. This is not that. This is, they've had to make some changes on the back end to address some issues that have been piling up, security ones too. For example, I should do a screenshot of what they were talking about. So there's a porting guide here. Broken conditionals occur when the input expression is not a string or the result of a Boolean. Maybe. Let's try this. Maybe this will fix it. I mean, you know, temporary fix. And it's supposed to be in Ansible config. True. Nope, that didn't do it. What else has changed? Yeah, so it was released this week. So it's the 25th now, so it was released 4 days ago. Deprecate Paramiko. Wonder how that affects the NetMiko. I don't think too badly. Remove deprecated functionality, decrease incidental integration tests. Yeah, so it looks like there's some other there's got to be some more stuff going on. Anyway, it's broken a lot of stuff. Most platforms go through a rough transition period. I don't know if I should say that because I don't know. I mean, this might be code bugs. I don't know if the templating system. Well, I don't know what they mean by templating system. Maybe they're variables. I'm sleepy all of a sudden. We'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. All right. So I got my coffee. Got my diet cherry Pepsi. That's I think there's one person watching who might get that joke. It's from a movie. Was it the 80s or the 90s? I think it was the 80s. It was okay, what was it? What was it called? I have to Google it because it's really bugging me. Pump up the volume. That's bugging me. Pump up the volume. That 1990. That came out in 1990. One of my favorite movies as a kid. Well, maybe not as a teenager, I guess. I still have it on DVD. Anyway, Ansible Core breaks a lot of stuff. So, actionable? What should I do? Oops. Hold off on Ansible Core 2.19 / Ansible 12. this brings up a larger discussion on updates. Traditionally, in the entire IT world, we have been dragged kicking and screaming into upgrading whatever we've got. So whether it's a network operating system or a firewall OS or our server operating systems, etc., we've waited until the last minute, and sometimes even waited way too long. I mean, the number of Windows 2003 servers that are out there that are in production is quite high. In fact, I had to get a new garage door opener for my apartment building to park in the garage, and I watched the person at the management office go into the closet that had the system with the access control, and it was running on a Windows 7 system, which has been deprecated. Is there any extended support for Windows 7? I don't think there is. Yeah, for 5 years it's been completely unsupported. You couldn't pay Microsoft to support it. After it was released in 2009. So, but there's still plenty of these old operating systems around. So we tend not to upgrade things very often. So it's unlikely that someone's in the middle of upgrading to 2.19, which makes sense because I haven't seen anyone else talking about this. I just noticed that Ansible is talking about big changes in 2.19, and so I decided to do some testing, and I saw that it broke everything. So hold off on Ansible Core 2.19. If you're doing a new build, use Ansible Core 2.18.x /11.x /Ansible 11.x. Because that version works okay. That version works fine. Like, we're getting all these errors here. And so if we do pip3 uninstall Ansible Core, okay, it's uninstalled. So if we do pip3 install Ansible Core 2.18.7, I think that's the most recent version. 6. Oh yeah, Ansible Core equals 2.18.7. There we go. If you want to, here's a little trick. Just do this, and then it just tells you all the different versions. So, like, we wanted to run the latest 2.18. So 2.18.7 is the most recent there. So, and then if we do Ansible, we just install Ansible. Actually, that should work. So Ansible playbook, build, fabric. That works fine. So, and then we'll go into demo 1. So this one's going to work. Oh yeah, unsupported parameters. Oh, I guess the modules were different. The parameters were different. Either way, it's fine. That's expected behavior. So, so if you're going to do new build, use Ansible Core 2.18.x or Ansible 11.x. And then keep an eye out for the fixes. So, Arista. Now, here's an interesting thing as well. So, netcommon broken 2.19. There is a. Yeah, someone just noticed this. Yes, or the day before yesterday. So there is a. So they knew about this in May. So one of the problems whenever you're doing these kind of things, you're supposed to test all the components with each other. And I guess some people did, and they're like, hey, this is, 2.19 breaks net common. And so it looks like they're working on it now. But before that, it was May 26th. And then someone said, hey, it's still going on 2 weeks ago. So it looks like a PR was started. So this is a pull request to fix stuff. So it looks like it just started. So it's kind of disappointing that this wasn't picked up before, because they knew about the problem. But I guess they knew about the problem. Some of it will be fixing netcommon. Some of it will be making sure the roles, collections, modules work with the new changes. So AVD, that's also an issue that's being brought up. So I'll do a screenshot here. So this was found. Just a screenshot of I'll do a little highlight here. I'll try not to be too critical here, because it's free software, so it's not like we're paying for it. But some people are. There are people that pay for Ansible and to pay to get the support, and the people that are using it like this are likely to be the ones that paid. Okay. And then there is also one for Arista.avd. So if you're not familiar with Arista.avd, it's a really cool. It is a really cool configuration generation, deployment, and testing framework. So it'll build configurations based off of YAML data models. It'll upload the configurations and deploy them either through CloudVision or directly to the EOS switches. And then it will run a series of tests that you can extend in addition to that. So there are, so we can look at issues. I actually opened up one. So I did this. So I'll go ahead and do that. My title is dramatic. Now, one of the comments they said is, we don't claim support for 2.19 currently. Well, you kind of did. I mean, not explicitly, but if you look at if you go to installation, it says install Python 3.10 or newer. And then there's a Ansible. Do look up 2 dot. Yeah, it said something like as long as it's a recent, it's like 2.6 or something. Getting started. They did have a requirements file at some point, but I can't find it. See if we can find it in here. Ansible 2. That doesn't help. I swear there was something that said you just need to have Ansible something or later. Yeah, question. I wonder actually if one of these instructions, that'd be an interesting thing. One of those instructions install the IPA pip3 list. Pip3 uninstall Ansible Core. So if I do, what was the instructions? If I do this, what does, oh, so this would probably install just regular Ansible .2.18, I think. Yeah, I think we'll just do 2.18. So Ansible or pip3 install pyabd Ansible. Let's see what it installs. Okay, so that would not install 2.19. That's good. So at least that instructions. Python requirements installation. Yeah. Okay, so that's okay. That's fine. All right, so the whole point of this video is making a video where I talk about the issues with the Ansible .219 for network administrators. So what is the issue with Ansible Core .219? Ansible released Ansible Core 219 it was July 21st, 2025. Ansible Core is part of Ansible 12. And maybe I should do Ansible Core and Ansible. Ansible Core is part of Ansible. Ansible Core contains the base. Base. What does it contain? See if there's an Ansible. Here we go. So for both Ansible community projects, the Ansible community package and Ansible core. So and the Ansible community package. It's not capitalized. After I do this, I'm going to go for a run. And when I get back, I'm probably going to record this as a video to put on YouTube. I've got a bunch of other stuff I need to do, like a tutorial on maintaining Unix systems for network administrators. Because I don't think there's a very good guide on that out there. There's like there's plenty of videos on how to learn Unix or Linux. But I don't know of one that's dedicated specifically to network administrators who may not have a Unix admin, Linux admin background. I do. I actually started as a condescending Unix administrator, but I had to quit because I couldn't grow a beard. That's not actually true, but yeah, in the mid '90s, I was maintaining SunOS systems, Solaris systems. Linux, FreeBSD, I did NextStep. So the company I worked for, everyone had a Next workstation, which was great, except their browsers were terrible. They were just too slow to do any browsing. But otherwise, the desktop environment was great. We had drag and drop. We could drag and drop an image into email in like 1996, which was even Apple couldn't do that. That was pretty cool. Anyway, okay, so Ansible Core. There's the Ansible Core and the Ansible community package. So I think we'll do a little diagram. So this. Base utilities. I don't know what semantic versioning means. Oh yeah, it maintains latest plus 2 older versions. Oh, that's interesting. So that means 2.19, 2.18, and 2.17 are supported, but 2.16 is not. Oh, that actually changes the calculus a little bit. Semantic versioning rules. Minor releases of the Ansible community package accept only backward compatible changes and included collections. That is not collections. It was also used semantic versioning. So collection versioning numbers reflect this rule. So for example, if Ansible 3.0 releases with the community general, then all minor releases of Ansible 3.x must include a 2.x release of community general and not, okay. So, so this must be why it's not released. This is interesting. I feel like they could make this a lot less confusing. So, Ansible 12, the community package release is Ansible 11. So that's why when we install Ansible, it actually installs 2.18. Okay, that makes sense. So 2.19 Ansible Core is released. How the frick did I not know all this? So I must be in. Oh, this is. So this was 3 days ago. See, the roadmap talks about when they're going to release project. Release schedule. All right, in like a week or so, or like 2 weeks. So when is the 5th? Yeah, 2 weeks. Okay, so this is good information. I did not know this, and how did I not know this? Last day for collection to make backward incompatible releases that will be accepted. All right, that makes sense. Breaking changes will be introduced in Ansible 12. We encourage the use of deprecation periods that give advance notice. Yeah, I did not know all this stuff. So, all right. So how am I going to encapsulate all this information? So what I've learned, you may already know this. I may just be far behind. That's certainly possible. Certainly has happened before. Is Ansible 11 is current. Ansible versioning. Ansible Core and Ansible Community Package are separate or distinct. They're not separate. Ansible Core is the core utilities. Ansible Community Package. I think it was drawn a diagram over here. It's Ansible Core, and that exists in the Ansible Community Package. So I have spent an inordinate amount of time, a part of my career, in PowerPoint. So I know my way around PowerPoint. Let's give this a different color. So this is Ansible Core plus curated collections. I think that's the term they used. Let's see. All right, so Ansible Core. Base utilities, base Ansible components. Ansible playbook. Ansible Galaxy, etc. So like pip3 list. So if we do pip3 install Ansible, I think it uninstalls core. Yeah, it does. And reinstalls it with the correct version. So if I uninstall, what is Ansible community package? Core runtime and CLI tools. With a collection of, it essentially bundles core with a large set of collections. Okay, that's good. Additional collections can be installed. For example, the community pip3 install Ansible. So it's a whole bunch of you know, I really never cared about this until shit got broken, which is kind of how it works. You know, think about how complex these systems are, like a Linux system. How many files are on a Linux system? Is there a way to count? Find type F. $310,000 files. So this is a pretty small installation of Linux. Windows isn't any different. FreeBSD is not any different. There's a lot of files, and if I understand 100 of them, I'm an expert. Maybe not 100, maybe 200. I don't know. But there's no one person that understands all 310,000 of these files. So we only care about we only care about something when stuff breaks. And so that's kind of where I am on that now. But it does give you an opportunity to learn things. I've learned some things today I didn't know about Ansible, and I considered myself an Ansible expert, but expert is a relative term. I just know more about Ansible than most network engineers. Okay, so Ansible and Ansible community and Ansible Core. There is the Ansible Core and the Ansible community package. And Ansible community package is a distro of Ansible tools plus Ansible modules, roles, and collections. Contains the base Ansible components. Ansible Playbook, Ansible Galaxy, Ansible Vault, etc. Okay. All right, so describing that, and then we'll put in another one, the relationship. Ansible Core and Ansible Community Package. Make it orange. I think that's right. And none of this includes Tower, because I don't really use Tower. Did I get that right? 215. Corresponds to 8. Yeah. Put in one more row. Insert row below. Because there are some systems that are like real old. So here's an Alma 8 system. Ansible version. Okay, so if I do dnf-y install Ansible. Oh yeah, it needs oh, do we not yeah. There we go. So what do we install for Ansible? 2.16. Wow, that is old. 2.16, is that still supported even? Yeah, it is. It's Ansible 9. But if we did Ansible pip3 install Ansible Core, what would it install? 2.16. It looks like it installs 2.16. Okay. So it's supposed to be 2.16 is going to be deprecated pretty soon. So it says that last two versions. So when Ansible So the latest release version of each included yeah. The Ansible project. Lifecycle. Is this another versioning system? Darn it. Yeah, it's a completely different version. Core. Yeah, it's a whole other versioning system, AAP, Ansible Automation Platform. That's the paid stuff, though. I don't care about that. The website called End of Life Date. Yeah, so 2.16 ends in 6 days. That's interesting. There's a lot of people on 2.16. So 6 days from now is 1, 2, 3. It's August 2025. Well, shoot. I am going to. This is end of life date. That's pretty cool. I like this. Now, one thing that may occur, so if you've got Ansible running on RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, they maintain stuff longer than the community does, but Ansible is maintained by, for example, Python. So old versions of Python, which have been deprecated, like if you go to python.org, actually we can just go here and we'll find it. Let's look at Python. So for example, 3.8. So that's been deprecated. but Red Hat still maintains it. So if you're running an old version of like Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8 and it's got 3.8 installed, which I think it does, or even older, they still support it. So it's like Red Hat Python basically. So if there's a security problem with it, Python's not going to fix it, but Red Hat might. So, that's an overall discussion about platforms and longevity. Like, how long do you stay on a platform? And I really think that depends. Like, one of the things that I think is missing in a lot of when we're setting up systems, we're building systems, is we don't really think how we're going to update these systems. Automation, especially in the networking realm, has made that a little bit easier. So there's a lot of friction in the process of updating a platform, and some of that is just the work to be done. Like, let's say you've got 100 leafs and like 6 spines and 100 leafs, so that's 106 devices. If you had to go into each one individually and upload an image from TFTP or whatever, you can do it. It's not difficult to do. It's not simple either, because you got to make sure that you did it for all 106 devices and check them and then verify and then have to upgrade them one by one. That's an undertaking, and that can be a while. Whereas with most automation platforms, even just simple Ansible, you can pre-stage that image and then you can do rolling updates. So A/B updates. So a lot of times networks will be A and B. So you'll have your A leaf and your B leaf. So that might be like an MLAG pair. So that way theoretically you should be forwarding traffic the entire time during the upgrade. But we still don't tend to think about that. We stick on the version that we're on until we have to move off. And even then, sometimes we don't. And that can be a big problem. Especially if you find yourself several versions back, and then you've got to do some intermediate updates. Like some projects, like you can't go from like project version 7 to project version 12. You have to go to project version 7, then to 9, then to 11.5, and then to 12. So that complicates your update cycle. So I think that like people should have a plan in place when you install something. Is like, how are you going to move on from that? How are you going to upgrade? Like, what's your upgrade process? What's your upgrade criteria? I don't want to be stuck on something and then have to upgrade because of something and not have a plan for it. And like Arista EOS, those versions are supported for 3 years. So ideally, you should be updating your EOS version every 2 years. And as far as I've experienced, the upgrades are pretty painless. There were some syntax issues in 4.20 because of the lawsuit between Cisco and Arista over the command line syntax. But other than that, they're backwards compatible. So your old config should still work for your new config, except for that's changed there. But a lot of places are really resistant to it. And then you get this like calcified, crusty, old environment with unsupported software. I keep bringing up this company that I used to work for, because there's a couple of interesting lessons in that company. So it was a company I worked for in the early 2000s, and we were competing with Google AdWords. So this is like the beginning of search advertisement, and it's called Sprinks or something, I can't remember. And we were competing against Google, and badly at that. There's a lot of problems, but one of the problems was they had compiled these modules into Apache for the software. I can't remember exactly why, but there was some functionality that rather than run as an application being served up by Apache, they incorporated it into Apache as a module. The problem is their build only worked for a very specific version of Apache. So Apache kept evolving, and we were stuck on this older version. And I'm like, we've got to update Apache at some point. They're like, no. It's too difficult or something. I mean, I don't think they wanted to stay on that old version of Apache, but it was they had other things that they wanted to do other than spend the time to do it. And sure enough, because it was so old and I don't think it was supported anymore, there was a vulnerability that came out, and then all of our Apache servers got infected, and I can't remember what they were doing. And our solution was kind of a hacky one. We put in an F5 iRule that would look for the URL that would exploit this particular vulnerability, and it would just send it to a black hole. It would just not serve up that thing. So it was, I mean, there could have been other issues with it. And so, like, it was a non-portable system, and we were, the older it gets, especially in the unsupported era, the worse things are security-wise. So we want to be updating. Now, network automation, we can update a little bit more quickly because we can do testing on newer platforms. And yeah. So that's a thought. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and go over this. So issues with Ansible Core 2019. And this will also be Ansible 12. Because in doing the research, we came to the conclusion that Ansible 12 has the same problem, and Ansible 12 will be released very shortly, in like a week or two. So what's the issue with Ansible? We'll just say Ansible. Ansible April Core, Ansible Core 2.19 was part of Ansible 12, released in August of 2025. Ansible reworked some aspects of Ansible Core in order to fix some issues and security problems, and it ended up breaking a lot of stuff. Breaks the netcommon. Okay, so first of all, I'll talk about the difference between Ansible Community and Ansible Core. Ansible Community Package. There was Ansible Core, the Ansible Community Package. Ansible Core contains the base Ansible components, Ansible Playbook, Galaxy, Vault, etc. And then Ansible Community Package is a distro of Ansible tools plus Ansible modules, roles, and collections. So yep. And so the relationship between Ansible Core and Ansible Community Package. So 12 and 11, and so these yeah. So we talk about deprecations. Issue demo, issues with netcommon, other issues. Yeah, there we go. So Ansible versioning. I think that's I think it's superfluous. What should I do? Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good presentation. That should be about 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. All right. We've done what I accomplished. I've accomplished what I came to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down this stream. Just shows some of my process into this. And yeah, I will see you on the next one.